The ship was quiet at night. Most of the crew slept in their rooms, dreaming of home or the next mission. But in the common area near the engineering bay, a small group of humans sat around a metal table. They were drinking and laughing, their voices low but full of energy. Suho sat at the edge of the group. He was a young engineer, maybe 25 years old, with dark hair that fell over his forehead and tired eyes that showed he worked too many hours. He held a cup of coffee in his hands, watching his friends play their stupid game. The game was simple. Someone would dare another person to do something embarrassing. If they refused, they had to drink. If they accepted, they became a legend. At least, that was how Taemin explained it. Tae-Dashman was the one who started everything. He was loud, confident, and always looking for trouble. He sat in the middle of the group like a king on his throne, pointing at people and making them do ridiculous things. Okay, Taemin said, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes. G1, you have to go to the cafeteria and ask the cook for a kiss on the cheek. G1, a small woman with short hair and a nervous smile, shook her head quickly. No way, the cook is terrifying. She would kill me, then drink. The group shouted together. G1 grabbed her cup and drank the whole thing in one go. Everyone cheered and clapped. Suho smiled, but did not join the noise. He was tired from working on the ship's engines all day. He only came to this gathering because Taemin would not stop asking him. Now he wished he had stayed in his room. The Starship Horizon was a large vessel, one of the biggest in the Allied fleet. It carried humans, aliens, and everything in between. The crew was mixed, with species from a dozen different worlds working together. Most of the time, everyone got along well. But there were always moments of tension, especially between humans and the Valari. The Valari were a proud race of feline warriors. They looked like large cats that walked on two legs. They had soft fur, sharp claws, and teeth that could cut through metal. Their eyes glowed in the dark, and their ears moved to catch every sound. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Most Valari on the ship kept to themselves. They did not like to mix with other species. They thought humans were weak and foolish. They tolerated the alliance because it helped them win the war against the Krath Empire. But they did not respect anyone outside their own kind. At the top of the Valari command was Admiral Rin. Admiral Rin was famous across the entire fleet. She was young for an admiral, maybe the same age as a human in their early 30s, but she had already won more battles than most commanders saw in a lifetime. Her fur was silver gray, like moonlight on water. Her eyes were a deep gold, sharp and intelligent. She moved with the grace of a hunter, always aware of everything around her. She was also cold. Very cold. She rarely spoke to anyone who was not Valari. She gave orders and expected them to be followed without question. She did not smile, did not joke, did not waste time on small talk. Many crew members were afraid of her. Some admired her. A few mostly foolish young men thought she was the most beautiful creature they had ever seen. Tae-Dashman was one of those foolish young men. All right, Taemin said, his voice dropping to a whisper. I have the ultimate dare. The dare to end all dares. The group leaned in closer. Even Suho found himself paying attention. I dare someone, Taemin continued, to go up to Admiral Rin and kiss her. Silence fell over the table. Then someone laughed nervously. Then another person. Soon everyone was laughing, but it was the kind of laughter that came from fear, not joy. You're crazy, Ji-won said. She would kill whoever tried that. That's what makes it the ultimate dare. Taemin replied with a grin. Think about it. If someone actually did it and survived, they would be a legend. People would tell stories about them for years. Or they would tell stories about how someone got their throat ripped out by a cat admiral. Another crew member muttered. Tae-Dashman waved his hand dismissively. Details, Details. So, who's brave enough? He looked around the table. Everyone avoided his eyes. No one wanted to volunteer for such a dangerous mission. Then Taemin's gaze landed on Suho. What about you, Suho? Taemin asked. You've been quiet all night. Maybe you should prove you're not as boring as everyone thinks. Suho looked up from his coffee. I'm not boring. I'm just not stupid. Come on, Taemin pressed. Don't you want to be remembered? Don't you want to do something exciting for once in your life? Suho thought about it for a moment. He thought about Admiral Rin with her cold golden eyes and her sharp teeth. He thought about how she walked through the corridors of the ship like she owned everything and everyone. He thought about the stories he had heard, about how she once killed 10 Krath soldiers with her bare hands. Then he shook his head. No, Suho said simply. The table went quiet again. Taemin frowned. No? That's it? Just no? Just no, Suho confirmed. I'm not going to kiss Admiral Rin. Taemin leaned forward. Why not? Are you scared? Suho considered the question carefully. Was he scared? Of course he was. Anyone with sense would be scared of Admiral Rin. But that was not the only reason he refused. It's not just about being scared, Suho said slowly. It's about respect. Respect? Taemin repeated, like the word was foreign to him. Yes, respect, Suho said. Admiral Rin is a warrior. She's fought in battles we can't even imagine. She's led armies, saved lives, and earned her position through blood and sacrifice. She deserves to be treated with honor, not used as the target of some stupid bet. The table was completely silent now. Everyone stared at Suho like he had grown a second head. Also, Suho continued, she's not some prize to be won. She's a person. Well, a Valari, but you know what I mean. She has feelings and thoughts and a life beyond this ship. Kissing her without her permission would be wrong. It would be disrespectful. It would make us look like fools. Taemin opened his mouth to argue, but no words came out. He had not expected this kind of answer. So no, Suho finished. I won't do it. And honestly, none of you should either. He picked up his coffee and took a long drink. The other crew members looked at each other uncomfortably. Some of them seemed ashamed. Others just seemed confused that no one noticed the shadow standing in the doorway. Admiral Rin had been walking through the corridor on her way back to her quarters when she heard the voices. She recognized the sound of human laughter and normally would have ignored it. Humans were always making noise about something, but then she heard her name. She stopped and listened. Her ears, large and pointed, could pick up sounds from far away. She heard every word of the conversation. She heard the dare. She heard the laughter. She heard the disrespect from most of the group. And then she heard Suho. She heard him refuse. She heard his reason. She heard him talk about honor and respect. She heard him defend her dignity when no one else would. Something strange happened inside her chest. A feeling she did not recognize. It was warm and uncomfortable at the same time. She stayed in the shadows for a moment longer, watching the young engineer drink his coffee. He was not handsome by Valari standards. He was too soft, too small, too fragile. But there was something in his eyes. Something honest. Something real. Rin turned and walked away silently, her footsteps making no sound on the metal floor. She had much to think about. The next morning, Suho woke up early to start his shift. He had slept poorly, his mind still replaying the conversation from the night before. He felt a little guilty about lecturing his friends, but he also knew he had said the right thing. He got dressed in his engineer's uniform and headed to the engineering bay. The walk was quiet. Most of the crew was still asleep. When he arrived at his station, he found a message waiting for him on his console. The words glowed on the screen. Report to Admiral Rin's quarters. Immediately, Suho stared at the message. His heart began to beat faster. His hands felt cold. Why would Admiral Rin want to see him? He was just an engineer. He had never spoken to her directly. He had never even been in the same room as her. Unless she had heard what happened last night. Unless she was angry. Suho swallowed hard. He thought about ignoring the message, about pretending he never saw it. But that would only make things worse. If Admiral Rin wanted to see him, she would find him eventually. It was better to face her now than to wait and worry. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes for a moment, and then started walking toward the Admiral's quarters. The walk felt endless. Every corridor seemed longer than before. Every turn brought him closer to something he could not predict. Finally, he reached the door to Admiral Rin's quarters. It was large and black, decorated with Velari symbols that he did not understand. He stood in front of it, his hand raised to knock, his courage failing him. Before he could touch the door, it slid open, and there she was. Admiral Rin stood before him in all her terrifying beauty. Her silver-gray fur seemed to glow in the dim light. Her golden eyes locked onto his, piercing straight through him. She was wearing a simple robe instead of her uniform, which somehow made her look even more dangerous. "Come in," she said. Her voice was low and smooth, like silk wrapped around steel. It was the first time Suho had heard her speak up close. It made something flutter in his stomach. He stepped inside. The door closed behind him. He was alone with the cat Admiral, and he had no idea what was about to happen. Admiral Rin's quarters were nothing like Suho expected. He had imagined a cold, empty room with military decorations and nothing personal. Instead, he found a warm space filled with soft lights and comfortable furniture. There were plants from different worlds growing in pots near the windows. There were paintings on the walls showing beautiful landscapes he did not recognize. There was even a small fountain in the corner. The sound of water creating a peaceful atmosphere. It felt like a home, not a soldier's room. Rin walked past him and sat down on a large cushion near the center of the room. She moved with such grace that Suho felt clumsy just watching her. She gestured to another cushion across from her. "Sit," she said. Su-Ho sat down quickly, almost falling in his hurry. His cheeks burned with embarrassment. He kept his eyes on the floor, afraid to look at her directly. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was heavy, filled with unasked questions and unspoken words. Suho could hear his own heartbeat pounding in his ears. Finally, Rin broke the silence. "I heard what happened last night," she said. Suho's stomach dropped. His worst fear was confirmed. She knew about the bet. She knew about the dare. She probably thought he was just as disrespectful as the others. "Admiral, I'm sorry," he started, his words tumbling out in a rush. "I tried to stop them. I know it was wrong of them to talk about you like that. If you want to punish someone, punish the ones who started it. I never meant any disrespect. I refused to participate. I would never stop." Rin's voice cut through his apology like a knife. Suho went silent immediately. "I am not here to punish you," Rin said slowly. "I am here because I want to understand." Suho finally looked up at her. Her golden eyes were watching him carefully, studying every small movement of his face. He felt like she could see right through him, like she could read his thoughts, just by looking. "Understand what?" he asked quietly. "Why you refused," Rin replied. "Why you defended me. Why you spoke of honor and respect when everyone else was laughing." Suho swallowed hard. He had not expected this question. He had expected anger, maybe violence, maybe a lecture about staying away from Velari business. He had not expected her to be curious. I don't know what to say," he admitted. "Say the truth," Rin said simply. "That is all I ask." Suho thought for a moment. He thought about how to explain something that seemed so obvious to him. "Where I come from," He began slowly. We have a saying. Treat others the way you want to be treated. My mother taught me that when I was very small. She said that everyone deserves respect, no matter who they are or what they look like. Rin's ears moved slightly, a sign that she was listening carefully. I know humans and Valari don't always get along, Suho continued. I know your people think we're weak and foolish. Maybe we are, sometimes. But that doesn't mean we can't try to be better. That doesn't mean we can't show respect when respect is earned. And you believe I have earned respect? Rin asked. Of course, Suho said without hesitation. You're one of the greatest commanders in the fleet. You've saved thousands of lives. You've won battles that everyone thought were impossible. How could anyone not respect you? Rin tilted her head slightly, like a cat watching something interesting. Many humans do not respect me. They fear me. They avoid me. They whisper about me when they think I cannot hear. You are not like them. Fear and respect are not the same thing, Suho said. I can fear something and still not respect it. And I can respect something without fearing it. He paused. Well, I do fear you a little. You're very intimidating, but that's not why I refused the bet. Then why? Rin pressed. Suho took a deep breath. Because you're a person, not a thing, not a prize, not a joke. You have dignity. You deserve to be treated with honor. Using you for some stupid game would have been wrong. It would have been cruel. And I don't want to be cruel. The room fell silent again. Rin stared at him for a long time, her expression unreadable. Suho began to worry that he had said something wrong, that maybe he had offended her in some way he did not understand. Then something amazing happened. Rin smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible, but it was there. The corners of her mouth turned up just a little. Her eyes softened. For a brief moment, she looked almost gentle. You are strange, she said. I have met many humans in my life. Soldiers, diplomats, traitors, criminals. None of them have ever spoken to me the way you do. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Suho asked nervously. I do not know yet, Rin admitted. But I would like to find out. Suho blinked in confusion. Find out? What do you mean? Rin stood up from her cushion and walked toward the window. The starlight from outside painted her silver fur in shades of blue and white. She looked like a creature from a dream, beautiful and impossible. Among my people, she said softly, words have great power. The things we say carry weight. They shape our relationships, our bonds, our lives. Suho listened carefully, unsure where this was going. When a Valari hears someone speak with true respect, Rin continued, it leaves a mark. Not a physical mark, but something deeper. Something in the heart. She turned to face him again. Her golden eyes seemed to glow in the dim light. You left a mark on me, Suho. With your words last night, you touched something inside me that no one has touched in a very long time. Suho felt his face grow hot. I didn't mean to. I was just being honest. I know, Rin said. That is what makes it special. She walked back toward him, each step slow and deliberate. Suho's heart began to race. He wanted to stand up, to back away, but his body would not move. He was frozen in place, caught by her gaze. Rin stopped directly in front of him. She was taller than him, even when he was standing. Now, with him sitting on the cushion, she towered over him like a goddess. I'm going to ask you something, she said, and I want you to answer honestly. Do not say what you think I want to hear. Say what is in your heart. Suho nodded slowly. Okay, your friends wanted you to kiss me, Rin said. You refused because you thought it would be disrespectful. But what if I gave you permission? What if I asked you to kiss me? What would you do then? Suho's mind went blank. He had not expected this question. He had not expected anything like this. I don't understand, he stammered. Why would you ask me that? Rin knelt down in front of him, bringing her face close to his. He could see every detail of her features now. The small whiskers on her cheeks, the thin scar above her left eye, the way her fur moved with each breath. Because I am curious, she whispered. Because you surprise me. Because for the first time in many years, I feel something I cannot explain. She reached out and touched his face gently with her clawed hand. Her pads were soft and warm against his skin. I am not asking you to kiss me right now, she said. I am asking what you would do if I did ask. Would you still refuse? Suho thought hard about the question. He thought about what he had said last night, about honor and respect. He thought about what it would mean to kiss Admiral Rin, the most feared and admired warrior in the fleet. And then he thought about the way she was looking at him. Like he mattered. Like he was important. Like he was worth her attention. No, he said quietly. If you asked me, really asked me, I would not refuse. Rin's smile grew a little wider. Why? Because then it would be your choice, Suho explained. It wouldn't be a joke or a bet or something disrespectful. It would be something real, something honest, something between us. Rin was silent for a moment. Then she did something that shocked Suho to his core. She laughed odd. It was not a cold laugh or a mocking laugh. It was warm and genuine, full of joy and surprise. The sound was like music, like bells ringing in the wind. You continue to surprise me, little human, she said. Most males of any species would have tried to impress me with strength or wealth or power. You impress me with kindness, with honesty, with respect. She stood up again and walked back to her cushion, sitting down gracefully. I have a proposal for you, she said. A proposal? Suho repeated nervously. Yes, among my people, when someone catches our interest, we do not rush into relationships. We take time. We learn about each other. We test if we are compatible. Rin looked at him with those golden eyes that seemed to see everything. I would like to learn about you, Suho. I would like you to learn about me. Not as Admiral and Engineer. Not as Valari and human. But as two people who might become something more. Suho could not believe what he was hearing. You want to court me? In a way, yes, Rin admitted. Though it is different from how humans do it. Among the Valari, when we find someone worthy, we claim them. We mark them as ours. But before that happens, we must be sure. Sure of what? Sure that they are strong enough, Rin said. Not physically strong. Valari know that humans are fragile, but strong in heart. Strong in spirit. Strong in honor. She leaned forward slightly. You showed me your strength last night. Now I want to see if it is real. If it lasts. If you can stand beside me without breaking. Suho felt dizzy. Everything was happening so fast. An hour ago, he was just an engineer worried about his job. Now the most powerful Valari in the fleet was asking to court him. I don't know if I'm worthy of this, he said honestly. I'm nobody. Just a human who fixes engines. Let me decide what you are worthy of, Rin replied. All you have to do is be yourself. Can you do that? Suho looked at her for a long moment. He saw the hope hiding behind her fierce exterior. He saw the loneliness she carried like armor. The day passed slowly for Suho. Every hour felt like 10. Every minute felt like an hour. He tried to focus on his work, fixing a broken power relay and checking the ship's engine systems, but his mind kept drifting back to Admiral Rin. Had that really happened? Had the most feared commander in the fleet really asked to court him? It seemed impossible. Like a dream that would disappear when he woke up. But the memory of her touch on his face felt real. The warmth of her fur, the softness of her paw pads, the way her golden eyes looked at him with curiosity and something else. Something deeper. "Hey, Suho!" Suho jumped at the sound of his name. He turned to see Taemin walking toward him with a worried expression. "What's wrong with you today?" Taemin asked. "You've been staring at that same panel for 20 minutes. "Nothing," Suho said quickly. "Just tired." Taemin studied him for a moment. "Is this about last night?" "Look, I'm sorry if I pushed too hard with the dare thing. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." Suho shook his head. "It's not about that." "Don't worry. Then what is it?" Taemin pressed. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Suho considered telling him the truth. He considered explaining everything that had happened with Admiral Rin. But something stopped him. This thing between him and Rin, whatever it was, felt private. Sacred, almost. He did not want to share it with anyone yet. "I'm just tired," he repeated. "Really, I'll be fine." Taemin did not look convinced, but he let it go. "All right, if you say so. But if you need to talk, I'm here, okay?" "Thanks," Suho said, and he meant it. The rest of the shift passed in a blur. Suho did his work automatically, his hands moving while his mind wandered. He kept checking the time, counting down the hours until he could see Rin again. Finally, his shift ended. He cleaned up his station, changed out of his work uniform, and headed toward Admiral Rin's quarters. His heart beat faster with every step. When he reached her door, he hesitated. What if she had changed her mind? What if this morning was just a test, and he had failed somehow? What if she laughed at him and sent him away? Before he could talk himself out of it, the door slid open. Rin stood there, looking different than before. She had changed out of her simple robe into something more elegant. A long dress made of flowing silver fabric that matched her fur. Her ears had small golden rings on them, and a thin chain of gems hung around her neck. She looked beautiful, breathtaking, like something from a fairy tale. "You came," she said, and there was relief in her voice. "Of course I came," Suho replied. "I said I would." Rin smiled, that small, soft smile he was beginning to love. "Come in." The room looked different, too. The lights were dimmer, creating a warm glow. The furniture had been moved to create a cozy space near the window. A small table sat in the center, covered with plates of food and cups of something that steamed gently. "I prepared dinner," Rin said, sounding almost nervous. "I was not sure what humans like to eat, so I asked the kitchen for help. If there's something you do not like, please tell me." Suho looked at the spread of food. There were familiar dishes mixed with strange ones. Rice and vegetables he recognized. Meat and fruits he did not. "This looks amazing," he said honestly. "You didn't have to go through all this trouble." "It was not trouble," Rin said. "I wanted to." They sat down together at the small table. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was not uncomfortable, but it was heavy with expectation. "I don't know how this works," Suho admitted. "The Lari courtship, I mean. I don't want to do something wrong." Rin poured him a cup of the steaming drink. "There is no wrong way. We simply spend time together. We talk. We learn." "That sounds nice," Suho said, relaxing a little. "It is," Rin agreed. "My people believe that true connection comes from understanding. Before we can love someone, we must know them. We must see their heart, their fears, their dreams." She looked at him with those golden eyes. "Tell me about yourself, Suho. Tell me who you are." Suho thought for a moment. No one had ever asked him that question so directly before. "I grew up on Earth," he began. "A small town in Korea. It was quiet, peaceful. Nothing exciting ever happened there. Did you like it?" Rin asked. "I loved it," Suho said, surprising himself with the honesty. "I loved the mountains and the rivers. I loved the way the seasons changed. I love sitting on my grandmother's porch and watching the stars at night. Then why did you leave? Suho smiled sadly. Because I wanted to see those stars up close. I wanted to know what was out there. My grandmother used to tell me stories about space, about aliens, about adventures in the galaxy. When I was old enough, I joined the fleet. I wanted to be part of those stories. And are you? Rin asked. Are you part of the stories now? Not really, Suho admitted. I'm just an engineer. I fix things that break. I keep the engines running. I'm not a hero. I'm not special. Rin reached across the table and touched his hand. Her claws retracted, leaving only soft fur and warm pads. You are wrong, she said softly. You are special. You just do not see it yet. Suho felt his face grow warm. What about you? Tell me about yourself. Rin pulled her hand back and looked out the window at the stars. Her expression grew distant, like she was looking at something far away. I was born on Valara Prime, she said. The home world of my people. It is beautiful. Forests that stretch forever. Mountains that touch the sky. Oceans that glow with life. It sounds wonderful, Suho said. It was, Rin agreed. But I did not stay there long. My parents were both military. They died in battle when I was young. After that, I was raised by the fleet. I grew up on ships surrounded by soldiers. I learned to fight before I learned to read. Suho felt a pang of sadness. I'm sorry about your parents. Rin shook her head. Do not be. They died with honor. That is all a Valari can ask for. Still, Suho said, growing up without parents must have been hard. Rin was quiet for a moment. It was. I was alone for most of my life. I had comrades, but no friends. I had respect, but no love. I became strong because I had to be. I became cold because it was easier. She looked at him again, and there was vulnerability in her eyes that Suho had never expected to see. I've been alone for so long, she whispered. I forgot what it felt like to want someone close. Until you. Suho did not know what to say. He wanted to comfort her, to tell her she was not alone anymore, but the words stuck in his throat. Instead, he did something impulsive. Something brave. He stood up, walked around the table, and sat down next to her. Then, slowly, carefully, he put his arm around her shoulders. Rin went stiff. Her ears flattened. Her body tensed like she was ready to fight. Is this okay? Suho asked quietly. For a long moment, Rin did not move. Then, gradually, she relaxed. She leaned into his touch, her head resting against his shoulder. Yes, she breathed. This is okay. They stayed like that for a long time, watching the stars together. Suho could feel the warmth of her body through her dress. He could hear the soft rumble in her chest, almost like a purr. I have never let anyone touch me like this, Rin said eventually. Among Valari, physical contact is sacred. It is reserved for family and mates. Suho started to pull away. I'm sorry, I didn't mean, no. Rin grabbed his arm and kept it in place. I said it is sacred. I did not say I wanted you to stop. Suho's heart pounded. What does this mean? For us? Rin turned her head to look at him. Her face was very close to his now. He could see the golden flecks in her eyes, the pattern of her fur, the sharp points of her teeth behind her lips. It means I have made my decision, she said. I want you, Suho. Not just for tonight. Not just for a while. I want you forever. Suho's breath caught. Forever? Yes. Rin reached up and touched his face, her claws gently tracing his jaw. Among my people, when we find our mate, we do not let them go. We claim them. We mark them. We bind our souls together. That sounds intense, Suho said. It is, Rin agreed. That is why I must ask you again, now that you understand. Do you want this? Do you want me? Not just the Admiral, not just the warrior, but me? All of me? The good and the bad? The strength and the weakness? Suho looked into her eyes. He saw hope there. He saw fear. He saw a woman who had been alone her whole life, reaching out for connection, terrified of being rejected. He thought about everything she had told him. About her parents, her loneliness, her cold exterior hiding a warm heart. He thought about how she had prepared dinner for him, how she had asked about his life, how she had let him hold her. He thought about the future, about what it would mean to be bonded to a Valari Admiral, about the challenges they would face, the prejudice they would encounter, the difficulties of an interspecies relationship. And then he stopped thinking. Yes, he said. I want this. I want you. All of you. Rin's eyes widened. For a moment, she looked like she could not believe what she was hearing. You are sure? She asked, her voice trembling. There is no going back once it is done. I'm sure, Suho said firmly. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Rin stared at him for a long moment. Then tears began to form in her golden eyes. Not tears of sadness, but tears of joy. You foolish human, she whispered. You beautiful, wonderful, foolish human. She pulled him close and pressed her forehead against his. It was a Valari gesture of deep affection. He somehow knew. A sign of trust and intimacy. Tomorrow. Suho could not sleep. He lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling, his mind racing with thoughts of what tomorrow would bring. The ritual, the bite, the bonding that would tie him to Rin forever. Part of him still could not believe it was real. A few days ago, he was just a lonely engineer who kept to himself and fixed broken machines. Now he was about to become the mate of the most powerful Valari in the fleet. His friends would think he was crazy. His family back on Earth would never understand. The whole ship would talk about them, whisper about them, judge them. But none of that mattered. What mattered was Rin. What mattered was the way she looked at him, the way she touched him, the way she opened her heart to him when she had kept it close to everyone else. That morning came faster than expected. Suho got up, showered, and put on his best clothes. Not his uniform, but a simple black shirt and pants that his mother had sent him from Earth. She said he should always have something nice to wear for special occasions. This definitely counted as a special occasion. Walked to Rin's quarters with nervous steps. The corridors were busy with crew members going about their morning routines. Some of them looked at him strangely, probably wondering why an engineer was dressed so nicely. He ignored them. When he reached Rin's door, it opened before he could knock. She stood there waiting for him, and the sight of her took his breath away. She was wearing a traditional Valari bonding dress. It was white, pure and bright, with golden threads woven through the fabric in complex patterns. Her silver-gray fur seemed to shine against the pale cloth. Her ears had more rings than before, and a crown of small gems rested on her head. She looked like a queen. She looked like a goddess. You came, she said, and there was that relief in her voice again. Of course I came, Suho replied, echoing his words from yesterday. I said I would. Rin smiled and stepped aside to let him in. The room had been transformed. All the furniture was gone, replaced by a single platform in the center covered with white cushions and silk. Candles burned everywhere, filling the air with a sweet scent. Symbols were painted on the floor in a circle around the platform, Valari words that glowed faintly with an inner light. This is the bonding chamber, Rin explained. I had it prepared this morning. The symbols are prayers to our ancestors, asking them to bless our union. Suho looked around in wonder. It's beautiful. You are beautiful, Rin said softly, and his cheeks burned. She led him to the center of the room and gestured for him to sit on the platform. She sat across from him, their knees almost touching. "Before we begin," Rin said, "I must explain what will happen. The ritual has 3 parts." Suho nodded, listening carefully. "First, we share words. We speak our promises to each other, our vows of loyalty and love. This binds our minds together." "Okay," Suho said. "I can do that." "Second, we share a kiss. Not like human kisses. A Valari kiss is deeper, more intimate. We press our foreheads together and breathe the same air. This binds our hearts together." Suho remembered how she had pressed her forehead to his last night. "We already did that, didn't we?" Rin smiled. "Yes, we did. But in the ritual, it means more. It is a seal on our promises." "And the third part?" Suho asked, though he already knew. "The bite," Rin said. Her eyes grew intense, her pupils widening. "I will bite you on the shoulder, near your heart. My fangs will pierce your skin and leave a mark that will never fade. This binds our souls together." Suho swallowed hard. "Will it hurt?" "Yes," Rin admitted honestly. "It will hurt. But the pain is brief, and what comes after is worth it." "What comes after?" Rin reached out and took his hands in hers. "Connection. Connection. When the bite heals, you will feel me. Not just my presence, but my emotions. My thoughts sometimes. And I will feel you. We will never be truly apart again, no matter how far away we are." Suho thought about that. Never being apart. Always feeling her presence. It sounded wonderful. It sounded terrifying. It sounded like exactly what he wanted. "I'm ready," he said. Rin squeezed his hands. "Then let us begin." She closed her eyes and began to speak in her native language. The words were strange and musical, rising and falling like waves on a shore. Suho did not understand them, but he felt their power. The symbols on the floor glowed brighter. The candles flickered. The air itself seemed to hum with energy. Then Rin switched to English. "I, Rin of House Silverfall, Admiral of the Allied Fleet, daughter of warriors, child of the stars, choose you." Her golden eyes opened and locked onto his. "I choose you, Suho of Earth. I choose your kindness and your courage. I choose your honesty and your honor. I choose your heart, your mind, your soul. I choose all that you are and all that you will become." Tears pricked at Suho's eyes. He had never heard anything so beautiful. "From this day forward," Rin continued, "you are mine. My partner, my equal, my mate. I will protect you with my strength. I will cherish you with my heart. I will love you until the stars burn out and the universe grows cold." She paused, waiting. Suho realized it was his turn. He had not prepared anything. He had not known what to say. But now, in this moment, the words came to him naturally. "I, Suho of Earth," he began, his voice shaking, son of farmers, grandson of storytellers, child of a small town that no one has ever heard of. "Choose you." Rin's eyes glistened. "I choose you, Rin of House Silverfall. I choose your strength and your beauty. I choose your fierce spirit and your gentle heart. I choose the warrior and the woman. I choose the admiral and the person underneath." Suho took a deep breath. "From this day forward, I am yours. Your partner, your equal, your mate. I will support you with my faith. I will comfort you with my presence. I will love you until my last breath and beyond." The room seemed to pulse with energy. The symbols blazed with light. The candles roared with flame. Then everything went still. Rin leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his. Her breath was warm on his face. Her scent, like flowers and rain and something wild, filled his nose. "Breathe with me," she whispered. Suho closed his eyes and matched his breathing to hers. In and out. In and out. With each breath, he felt something building between them. A warmth, a connection, a thread linking their hearts together. When they finally pulled apart, Suho felt different, lighter, fuller, like a piece of him that had always been missing was finally in place. Now the final part, Rin said. Her voice was thick with emotion. She moved closer, positioning herself beside him. Her hand gently pulled the collar of his shirt aside, exposing his left shoulder. Are you ready? She asked. Suho nodded. Yes. Rin opened her mouth, revealing her fangs. They were longer than he remembered, sharper. They gleamed in the candlelight like twin daggers. She leaned down slowly. Suho felt her breath on his skin. He felt her lips touch his shoulder, soft and warm. Then the fangs pierced his flesh. Pain exploded through him. It was sharp and hot and deep, like fire spreading through his veins. He gasped, his body tensing, his hands gripping the silk beneath him. But even as the pain burned, something else happened. Something amazing. He felt her. Not just the pressure of her bite, but her. Her presence rushed into him like a wave, filling every corner of his being. He felt her love, fierce and protective. He felt her joy, bright and overwhelming. He felt her relief, deep and profound. He felt everything she felt for him. And it was beautiful. Rin held the bite for several seconds, her fangs deep in his shoulder. Then, slowly, she withdrew. Her tongue, rough and warm, licked over the wound, cleaning away the blood. When she pulled back, her lips were stained red, but her eyes were full of wonder. I feel you, she whispered. I feel you inside me. I feel you too, Suho said, and his voice cracked with emotion. They stared at each other for a long moment. Then Rin pulled him into her arms and held him tight. Her body shook with silent sobs. His body shook with his own. They stayed like that for a long time, wrapped around each other, crying and laughing and feeling. When they finally separated, Suho looked down at his shoulder. The wound was already healing, the blood drying. But where Rin had bitten him, a mark remained. Two crescent shapes, like her fangs, surrounded by a pattern that looked like silver fur. The mark of my house, Rin explained, touching it gently. It will never fade. Everyone who sees it will know you belong to me. Good, Suho said. I want them to know. Rin smiled, and this time it was a full smile, wide and bright and happy. It transformed her face, making her look young and carefree. You are mine now, she said. Forever. And you are mine, Suho replied. Forever. They kissed then. Not a Velari kiss, but a human one. Lips against lips, soft and sweet. It was gentle at first, then deeper, more passionate. When they finally broke apart, both of them were breathless. What happens now? Suho asked. Now, Rin said, we live. We work. We fight. We love. Everything is the same, but everything is different. She took his hand and pressed it against her chest, over her heart. Feel this, she said. My heart beats for you now. Only for you. Suho felt the steady rhythm beneath his palm. Strong and sure and full of life. My heart beats for you too, he said. They sat together on the platform as the candles burned down around them. The symbols on the floor faded, their purpose complete. The room slowly returned to normal, but nothing would ever be normal again. Suho was bonded now, claimed, marked. He was hers forever, and he had never been happier. Later, when they finally left the room and walked through the corridors together, hand in hand, every person they passed stopped and stared. They saw the Mark Onus traveled fast on the horizon. By the next morning, everyone knew about Suho and Admiral Rin. The whispers followed him wherever he went. The stares burned into his back. The questions came from every direction. Is it true? Did she really bite you? Are you actually bonded to the Admiral? What were you thinking? Suho answered them all with the same calm smile. Yes, it's true. And I have never been happier. Most people did not know how to react. Some congratulated him nervously. Some avoided him like he had a disease. Some looked at him with envy, others with pity. A few, especially the Velari crew members, looked at him with new respect. Tay Dashman found him in the engineering bay during his lunch break. His old friend looked pale, like he had not slept at all. So, Tamin said, sitting down next to him. The cat Admiral. Her name is Rin, Suho corrected gently. Right, Rin. Tamin shook his head slowly. I can't believe it. You refused to kiss her as a bet, and now you're… What? Married to her? Bonded, Suho said. It's different from human marriage, but similar. More permanent. Tamin stared at the mark on Suho's shoulder, visible through his thin uniform shirt. That's really real, isn't it? She really bit you. She did. Did it hurt? Suho thought about the pain he had felt, the fire spreading through his veins. Then he thought about what came after. The connection, the love, the feeling of never being alone again. Yes, he said. But it was worth it. Tamin was quiet for a long moment. Then he laughed, a genuine laugh full of disbelief and wonder. You know what? I believe you. I've never seen you look like this before. You're practically glowing. Suho touched the mark on his shoulder without thinking. Through the bond, he could feel Rin. She was in a meeting on the other side of the ship, discussing strategy with other commanders. She was bored, but focused. And underneath it all, he felt her love, warm and steady like a heartbeat. I feel her, he said softly. All the time. It's like she's always with me. Tamin shook his head again. That's either the most romantic thing I've ever heard, or the creepiest. I can't decide. Romantic, Suho said firmly. Definitely romantic. They sat together in comfortable silence for a while. Then Tamin slapped Suho on the back. Well, congratulations, I guess. You went from refusing a dare to becoming the mate of the most powerful Velari in the fleet. That's quite a journey. It was, Suho agreed. But I would do it all again. The days that followed brought changes to Suho's life. Big changes and small ones. Some were expected, others surprised him. His living quarters changed first. Rin insisted that he move into her rooms. At first, Suho worried about the appearance of it, about what people would say. But Rin dismissed his concerns with a wave of her clawed hand. You are my mate, she said simply. You belong by my side. Let them talk. Their words mean nothing. So Suho moved his few belongings into her quarters, their quarters now. He got used to falling asleep with her warm body pressed against his, her tail wrapped around his leg. He got used to waking up to her golden eyes, watching him with affection. His job changed too, though not in the way he expected. He was still an engineer, still fixing broken things and maintaining the ship's systems. But now he had access to areas he never could have entered before. He worked on Velari technology, learned their engineering secrets, improved systems that no human had ever touched. The Velari crew accepted him slowly. At first, they were suspicious. A human bonded to one of their admirals? It was unheard of. Some thought it was a trick, a scheme, a political play. But as weeks passed, they saw the truth. They saw how Rin looked at Suho. They saw the genuine bond between them, the connection that could not be faked. One by one, they began to accept him. An old Velari warrior named Kel approached Suho one day in the corridor. Kel was huge, covered in scars, with one eye missing from an old battle. He was terrifying to look at. You, Kel growled. Human. Suho stood his ground, though his heart pounded. Yes? Cal stared at him for a long moment. Then he reached out and placed a massive paw on Suho's shoulder, right over the bite mark. You carry the mark of Silverfall, Cal said. You are no longer just human. You are Valari now. One of us. Suho felt a lump in his throat. Thank you. Cal nodded once, then walked away without another word. But from that day forward, the Valari treated Suho differently. With respect. With acceptance. With kinship. The humans on the ship took longer to adjust. Many of them could not understand why Suho had done what he did. Why would anyone willingly bond themselves to an alien? Why would anyone choose such a different life? But Suho did not need them to understand. He only needed Rin. Their bond grew stronger every day. Through their connection, Suho learned things about Rin that she had never told anyone. Her fears, her hopes, her dreams. The loneliness she had carried for so long. The joy she felt now that she was no longer alone. And Rin learned about Suho in return. His love for his family back on Earth. His quiet dreams of adventure. His simple desires for peace and happiness. They became a team. When Rin faced difficult decisions, she talked them through with Suho. When Suho struggled with his work, Rin offered support and encouragement. They balanced each other. They completed each other. One night, several months after the bonding, they lay together in bed watching the stars through the window. Rin's head rested on Suho's chest, her ear pressed against his heart. I never thanked you, she said quietly. For what? For refusing the bet. Suho laughed softly. That was just common decency. It wasn't anything special. Rin lifted her head and looked at him. Her golden eyes were serious. It was special to me, she said. In my whole life, no one has ever defended my honor the way you did. No one has ever seen me as a person first and a warrior second. You changed my life with your words that night. Suho reached up and touched her face, his thumb stroking the soft fur of her cheek. You changed my life too, he said. I was nobody before I met you. Just a lonely engineer counting down the days until retirement. Now I'm part of something bigger. Something meaningful. Something beautiful. You were never nobody, Rin insisted. You just couldn't see your own worth. Maybe, Suho admitted. But you helped me see it. They kissed gently, their bond humming with warmth and love. What do you think the future holds? Suho asked when they separated. Rin thought about it for a moment. War, probably. The Krath Empire will not stop until they are defeated. There will be battles. There will be danger. There will be death. Suho nodded. He had known that. The fleet was always at war. But there will also be us, Rin continued. Together. Always together. No matter what happens, we will face it side by side. Together, Suho agreed. Always. Rin laid her head back on his chest. Her purr rumbled through him, soothing and warm. I love you, she said. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of her entire heart. I love you too, Suho replied. And he meant it with every fiber of his being. Outside, the stars burned bright and eternal. The ship continued its journey through the vast emptiness of space. Somewhere out there, enemies waited. Battles loomed. The future remained uncertain. But in this room, in this moment, there was only Love.Su-Ho. The human engineer who had refused a dare out of respect had found something he never expected. A partner. A purpose. A home. Rin, the cat admiral who had been alone for so long, had found what she had been searching for all her life. A mate. A soulmate. A love that would last forever. They had started as strangers from different worlds. Now they were bound together, body and soul. For eternity, she had bitten her claim into him, and he had given himself. Willingly. He was hers forever, and she was his. That was all that mattered. That was everything.